It's probably one of the most common, and let's be real, one of the most awkward questions dog owners ask me. But when your dog starts that dreaded carpet scoot, what are they actually trying to tell you? Well, we are going to get to the bottom of it. Literally.
So picture this. You're just relaxing on the couch, everything's peaceful, and then it happens. Your dog starts dragging their rear end across your nice clean rug. It's a classic for sure. And you can just tell it looks uncomfortable, right?
And, your mind immediately starts racing. Is it worms? Are they hurting? Is this just some bizarre habit? Or is it a sign that something is seriously wrong? Don't worry. In the next few minutes, we're going to clear all of that up for you.
Okay, so to really understand why dogs scoot, we need to talk about some very specific anatomy. It all comes down to something called the anal sacs. This is really where the whole story begins.
Every single dog has these two little pouches, and what they do is produce this, well, there's no other way to say it, a very pungent, often fishy-smelling fluid that is totally unique to them. You can really think of it as their personal scent signature. It's like a chemical calling card that tells every other dog in the neighborhood, hey, I was here, and a whole lot more.
So how is this supposed to work? Well, if you imagine your dog's rear end as a clock face, these sacs sit at about the 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock positions. And in a perfect world, when your dog has a nice, firm bowel movement, the pressure from the stool passing by gives those sacs a gentle squeeze, releasing a little bit of that fluid. It's a totally normal, natural way for them to mark their territory. The trouble really kicks in when that natural process doesn't happen. If the sacs don't empty, that fluid just keeps building up. It gets thicker, and eventually it can actually clog the little ducts. We call this impaction. I want you to imagine a tiny balloon that can't let any air out. It just gets fuller and tighter and way more uncomfortable. And that discomfort, that's what makes them scoot.
So you might be wondering, does this happen to all dogs? And the answer is, while any dog can have this problem, there are definitely a few things that make it a whole lot more likely. Let's take a look at who's most at risk. We for sure see this issue more in some dogs than others. First up, small breeds. Your Chihuahuas, your Pugs, your Spaniels, they're really prone to it. Overweight dogs are also at a higher risk because that extra body fat can actually get in the way of the glands emptying properly. But honestly, one of the biggest culprits is soft stool. If their poop isn't firm, there's just not enough pressure to do the job. And finally, allergies. Underlying food or environmental allergies can cause inflammation all over, including that area, making the whole problem even worse. And just a quick pause here. If you're finding this helpful, please take a moment to subscribe and share this explainer. It's such an easy way to help other pet owners just like you understand what their furry friends are trying to tell them. All right, so how do you know if this is what's going on with your dog? Well, they can't use words, but trust me, they will absolutely show you. So let's talk about the specific warning signs you need to look for. Obviously, the scoot is the #1 sign, but you also want to watch for a lot of licking or chewing at the rear end. And then there's the smell. That sudden, really unmistakable fishy odor. That's actually the fluid leaking out. You might also see them straining or acting uncomfortable when they try to go to the bathroom. And in more serious cases, you might even spot a red, swollen bump on one side. Every single one of these is your dog's way of asking for help. Okay, so you've seen the signs, now what? Well, here's the good news. This is an incredibly common and manageable issue. Let's talk about the path forward to get your dog feeling comfortable again. First things first, a trip to the vet is always the right move. I promise. This is something we see all the time, and it's not as intimidating as it sounds. We'll start with a gentle physical exam. Then we perform what's called a manual expression, which is just a nice way of saying we carefully empty the sacs for them. We'll check the fluid to make sure there's no infection, and if we need to, we might flush the area out. It's a super routine procedure, and it brings them relief almost instantly. Now, once they're feeling better, the big question is, how do we keep this from happening again? And that's where the conversation almost always turns to diet. As my colleague, Dr. Hilary Wolf says, dogs benefit from a healthy balance of soluble and insoluble fiber. Honestly, for so many dogs, this is the secret weapon. But what does that actually mean?
Let's break it down. Think of it like a 1-2 punch. On one side, you have soluble fiber. This stuff acts like a sponge. It soaks up water and forms a gel, which is amazing for firming up poop that's too soft. Then you've got insoluble fiber. This is the roughage. It's what adds bulk and size to the stool, and that's what creates the pressure needed to squeeze those sacs naturally. To really solve the problem, a dog needs both.
So here's the number you want to remember. Most standard dog foods have somewhere around 2 to 5% fiber. But the data shows that for dogs with these chronic issues, the real sweet spot, the level where you see a big difference, is a diet that has at least 5 to 7% fiber.
So here's your at-home game plan. Number 1, fiber is absolutely key. Something as simple as adding a spoonful of plain canned pumpkin to their food can work wonders. Number 2, manage their weight. Keeping them lean and healthy means there's no extra pressure on that area. And number 3, if the problem keeps coming back, it's time to talk to your vet about checking for underlying allergies.
You know, if you take one thing away from this, please let it be this. Scooting is not just a weird quirk or a bad habit. It is a signal. It's your dog's only way of saying, hey, I'm really uncomfortable back here and I need your help. Understanding that changes everything. So I'll leave you with this to think about. For so many dogs that deal with this over and over, the answer isn't some complicated treatment. Often, it's as simple as changing what's in their food bowl. So could a little more fiber be the key to a comfortable, happy, scoot-free life for your best friend? It is absolutely a conversation worth having with your vet.